So, welcome back to Paris again. Now I have Anders Wijkman here. I think many of you which are listening have met Anders before, and he just coming with a fresh new report from his work on the Club of Rome on the circular economy. What's in the report, Anders?
Well, here it is. And it's a study that we decided to undertake about a year ago. And the basic question we put is, how would an economy like Sweden or Finland or France or Spain or the Netherlands, these are the 5 countries that we have now looked into, how would their economies be changing and impacted by moving towards greater or increasing material efficiency, including also moving towards more renewable energy and enhancing energy efficiency. And to us, all these 3 objectives go together.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, if you look at climate mitigation strategies in the past, they have been very sectorized, and they have looked at primarily energy consumption and energy demand. But materials are also very important, because if we use materials longer, we don't need new stuff. If we can reuse and recycle materials or components in products, we also use much less energy. So there is a very definite link, sort of 2 sides of a coin. And it's quite strange that people haven't thought about. I just gave a speech at a big conference at the Assemblée Nationale, the French Parliament,
yeah,
in the city of Paris. And there were legislators from all over the world. And I presented this report. And they said, oh, we haven't thought about this. People from Mexico, Indonesia said, oh, this is interesting. So I think this is very basic, very simple. And what we did find out when we did the study, and we used a very conventional input-output model,
yeah,
and manipulated the supply chains a bit, and to see what would happen. Greenhouse gas emissions, carbon emissions, would go down significantly as a combined effect of material efficiency, renewables, and energy efficiency. And, which is interesting, there will be many more jobs. And this is particularly important because for trade unions, for people in general, environment policies have very often been looked upon as a threat to jobs. And if you follow the American debate today, the oil companies say, if you move towards energy efficiency and renewables, you will lose jobs. So that's a mantra that's being repeated all over the world. Here we show very convincingly there will be more jobs, because an economy which is more of a service economy, offering high quality, recycling, reusing, reconditioning, remanufacturing, maintenance, repair, is more labor intensive than automated or robotized manufacturing. So I think this is a very important message, and the task force I'm now chairing for the Swedish government on climate strategy for 2050, this is going to be part of our strategy. We have to look at metabolism and material throughput in society.
We have been talking a lot about political leadership here because it is some sort of complexity in these issues. So is the politician the first one you would like to distribute the report to? Who should read the report?
I think it's readable to everybody. And if they visit my website, www.wijkman.se, or the Club of Rome's website, they will find it there.
Yeah. We have to tweet it after this. We can tweet it.
We can tweet it after that. But what is interesting is that quite a number of companies have started to move in this direction. Politics or policymakers are a little bit lagging behind, but the European Commission this very week, on Wednesday, the 2nd of December, they launched a proposal So there is going to be a lot of debate in Europe around this. And what are the policy incentives? Because this will not happen by itself. First of all, secondary materials must become less expensive compared to virgin materials. Today, it's most often cheaper to use virgin materials than secondary materials. Secondly, we have to influence product design. Many things are rather complex. Materials that are put together in a way that it's not easy to disassemble and separate. And then there is no way you can recycle effectively, not to speak of reuse effectively. Just imagine electronic waste, 65 million tons a year. And the only metals that we are today retrieving when they are recycled is gold and copper. But there is so much more in a computer or in a laptop or in a...
say it also must be very interesting for house builders, for example.
Absolutely. Construction is a key in this, because the material flows within the construction industry are very, very large. And if you look at it historically, most of what they not use are just thrown away. So there is a colossal waste also in the economy.
We have been talking about investments and also the investor's role in this, because you may need other sort of interest to handle questions that the budget in the local government maybe is not enough. So you need private investment and
I think there has to be a combination.
yeah.
The public sector must help facilitate this, and help also incentivize. For instance, retrofittings of buildings. In many parts of society, this will happen by itself. But if you take, for instance, the so-called Million Program, apartment buildings that were built during the 50s, 60s, and the 70s, quite low quality. The social environments sometimes are not very good. If you are going to really do effective retrofitting, you need some kind of public sector support. If you're going to electrify the transportation system, you need infrastructure for that. But then a lot of investments will come through from the private sector. I mean, recycling industries will have to rethink their roles. They're going to work not only collecting materials and transport them to incineration stations. They're going to look for smart reconditioning, etc. And all that will require both education and training and investments.
Let's go for the question about leadership, and I'm going to invite here one of the person who has been involved in the development of Malmö city, Ilmar Reepalu, the former mayor from Malmö, and we're going to talk a little bit more. Maybe he has been listening to see what you are coming out with in the report. And thank you very much, Anders, for contribution.
I see that your battery is almost out, so you have to do something about that.
Yeah, well,
thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome, Ilmar. If we're going to see if we can fix.
I give Ilmar a report.
The electricity here, we need more energy, and yeah, we are just talking about the new report from Anders, the circular economy on the net.
Jag är lite fiende till honom just nu, för jag leder utredningen om kommunalisering av förpackningsavfall.
Okay.
Och han är ordförande i återvinningsinvesteringen.
So, Ilmar, welcome. It's not very often that we are meeting here in Paris, but you arrived here 2 days ago or yesterday?
I arrived from Brussels early at Thursday evening.
Okay. And you were visiting also the mayor's meeting yesterday.
Yes, first of all, we had yesterday the UCLG, the World Council meeting, And then we had the mayor's meeting. That was fabulous, really. And then today we had the CMR, Committee of Municipalities and Regions in Europe.
Yeah. And what do you think about the mayor's role here in Paris?
That's essential to be a pressure group on the negotiations on the national level. So today or yesterday we had all the important mayors in the world there, and everybody from whatever continent they're coming from are saying that now we have to act, but we have to act together with the national governments. The national governments also must put up brave goals and also see in what way we are calculating the use of energy, the use of materials, and the emission, of course, and then report it back and see in what way they can adjust it if they are not fulfilling the programs.
So do you think the national government feel a little bit of scared and they're going to lose their face if they're not going to come to a binding deal? Or
No, in fact, I don't think so, because you must understand that it's a different way of looking upon it. When the national governments are negotiating on a UN level, then they try to oblige themselves to come up to this, and that is very much a question of how much can we do when we look upon it as a sort of medium for the country. But when cities are acting, cities are using this for branding themselves. They want to be the forerunners. They want to be the best in climate action. So from their point of view, they don't look upon, are we keeping up to the level that should be? They want to be much better than that. So that is another race, of course, that the cities do. And that, of course, is important to understand. The cities must run in that way because they are putting the front in that way much better, much higher up on the conditions.
You have been within these issues for many years, and you were there in Copenhagen too.
I was in Stockholm 1972 also.
And do you see the difference between the COP21 and the ones you have been visiting before?
Yes, but the Copenhagen meeting, the COP15, was looked upon as a failure. And of course, it was a failure from the national point of view. But the mayor of Copenhagen, Rit Bjerregaard, she was the one that started this movement with the mayors. She invited the important mayors from the world. She invited Schwarzenegger from California. And there they said, even if the national states will fail, we, the mayors, must be the forerunners. So it really started there. Then we took that question with us to Cancun, the next COP meeting. And there we was really acknowledged from the UN. And then we have the Durban meeting. And there we were even stronger. And when we had the meeting in Rio, +20, there was really recognized. Well, there Ban Ki-moon came into the global city hall and had the speech for us and said that you are the most important actors here, because in there where we have the negotiations, everybody is saying no, 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 but here you are saying yes, yes, yes.
So you think that also the mayors have an impact here in Paris? That
they have an impact, but I believe that we must widen the question a little, because now we are talking very much about how we are creating welfare and how we are distributing welfare, and we are, for instance, using GDP as an indicator. And GDP is an indicator of how much resources we are using. And today we have an indicator that it's good to have a high GDP. That means that the more resources we are using, the better it is.
Yeah.
But that's contradictory to what we are talking here. We must find other indicators to combine the GDP. Otherwise, we are going the wrong way. So it's about resource efficiency, not only energy efficiency, resource efficiency. It's about the circular economy, like Anders was talking about.
Yeah.
And it's about also how are we using the resources, the ecosystem resources that are not calculated in any way today.
Yeah.
That must be included also in this discussion. I hope that we can come back to, we have had the OECD's Better Life Index for many years now. Let us say that must go together with GDP. Or if you want to use the UNDP, the Human Development Index instead, we must need these indexes to calculate in what way we are moving the world.
Interesting to hear your little bit more broader perspective, but do you feel that the mayors are going to play more on an international level further on?
Yes, I'm sure of that, and that's because that that we always think of our world as a sort of silo economy. The mayors can never work as a silo economy. The mayors have to take all the questions on that level in account when they are making the decisions. If you're a minister for transport, then you are only thinking in transport. If you're a minister in housing, then you're only discussing the housing. Minister in health, then it's only health. But on every level, you must put all these together in a holistic way.
So the future will be that the mayor will also be acting as an international collaborator.
Of course, and you can see that already, where you have all the city networks where we are working on that level. So it's not only the departments for foreign affairs that are making connections.
That is one of the interesting things I have been meeting here, that you have compact of mayors, you have a lot of networks in cities, and they collaborate a lot.
We collaborate a lot, and we collaborate with the private sector also. For instance, this morning I had the meeting with Mr. Wang. He's the president and the owner of BYD, one of the biggest battery factories in China, the world's biggest, in fact. And they are producing cars, they're producing buses, electric trucks, they're producing these waste collection cars, they're producing mining machines that are electric. So these are one of the good collaborators, and I made the contact between this company and Stockholm, because we can see that now we must look on the trucks, now we must look on what we are transporting goods into the city area. And that is the next challenge for us.
So the last question for you, a little bit more of a personal one. You have been mayor in Malmö for many years.
Oh, 19 years, yes.
Yeah.
No, I was, yes, 19 years.
But you're still active, and what will be the role for you the time to come?
I'm appointed spokesperson in the Committee of European Municipalities and Regions on Urban Questions. So in that I will take with me with Habitat 3 and the Quito meeting and the meeting in Bogota. So I will still be working with the most important things.
Thank you very much for you being here today, and thank you from Paris just now, and see you the next webcast from Paris. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot.